The Castleford Tigers can take a step closer to their first ever League Leaders Trophy when they take on the Catalan Dragons in Perpignan. A win for the Tigers would put them 10 points clear at the start of the Super 8's campaign. For the Dragons, it's about discovering winning form as they prepare for a relegation battle at the other end of the table. Well, results so far in round 23 explain why Castleford's position is so strong. Warrington beating Widnes 22-6 on Thursday night, and then some significant results on Friday. Hull FC beating Huddersfield 14-10. Lee nilling Salford 25-0, the final score at Lee Sports Village. Wigan nilling and under strength at Leeds Rhinos side 34-0, the final score at the DW Stadium. Both those results doing the Castleford Tigers a big favour. Castleford against the Catalan Dragons coming up now, and then on Sunday, massive game as well as Wakefield Trinity take on St Helens. A 3 o'clock kickoff for that one at Wakefield. Well, this is how the table stands so far. Still games to come in round 23. The Castleford Tigers way out in front. Their game coming up. Leeds stay second. Hull FC move up to third. Wakefield remain fourth. Salford on the slide down to fifth. St Helens sixth. Wigan climb up to finish this first stage of the season in seventh place. Huddersfield take the eighth and final place. The bottom four will be in the middle eight. Warrington, the Catalan Dragons, Lee Centurions off the bottom by virtue of their victory over Salford. Widnes Vikings taking the wooden spoon. Catalan Dragons going into this game missing some important figures. Jody Broughton, Luke Walsh and Remy Casti out of the side. Tony Gigo is a fullback. Lewis Tierney on loan from the Wigan Warriors makes his home debut. Krishnan Inu, Vincent Depor, Fuad Yaha, Lucas Albert partnering Richie Myler. No Luke Walsh. Such an influential figure for the Dragons. And a big miss in the forwards will be Remy Casti. For the first time this season, the captain is absent. It's Sam Moa, Paul Ayton, Romain Navarrete, former Dragon, now a Wigan player, loaned back to Catalan, coming into the side for this one. Justin Horrow, Louis Anderson and Greg Bird. And on the bench, Julien Busquet, Benjamin Garcia, Jason Baitieri and Thibaut Margalet. The coach looking for his second win since taking charge of the side, Steve McNamara. Now then, the Castleford Tigers looking to go 10 points clear at the top of the table, but missing Super League's top try scorer, Greg Eden, out for potentially the remainder of the season with that shoulder problem. Zach Hardacre, Jai Hitchcocks, Greg Minikin, Michael Shenton and Joel Monaghan, who came on in Eden's absence last week and scored 2 tries against Salford. Ben Roberts and Luke Gale. And then in the forwards for the Castleford Tigers, Grant Millington, Paul McShane, Jesse Seni Lefeo, Alex Foster, Mike McMeekin and Nathan Massey. And on the bench for the Castleford Tigers, Andy Lynch making his 350th Super League appearance. Matt Cook returning after 7 games out. Tom Holmes and Kevin Laroyer returning to his former club. On the bench for the Castleford Tigers and their coach, Daryl Powell. And Daryl Powell celebrating yesterday his 52nd birthday. So a happy birthday belatedly to him, and hoping to celebrate it with an away win in Perpignan, where the Tigers have not fared particularly well over the years. They've won just 3 of 12 previous visits, but given their form and given the Catalan Dragons' form, you've got to fancy the Castleford Tigers for this one.
I think Castleford Tigers will know the task and the size of the task in front of them. History's against them, as you've already mentioned. If you look at the form going into this game of the Catalan Dragons, they've won 3 from 4 under Steve McNamara, only managing to beat the then bottom side, the Lee Centurions. But I've seen some improvements. I've seen them get a little bit better each and every week. They took the lead and did incredibly well the last time they were at home against Wigan, and they took the lead against St Helens, and up until 50 minutes we're in with a real shout for that game against Saints. They are missing some key players, and Luke Walsh not being available will alter the way that they'll play, but he's also their goal kicker as well. Tony Gigot only getting 5 goals this year. I think they've got a chance, but they'll need to start well, John.
Yeah, Luke Walsh is your man. I think he's provided them an awful lot of guidance. He misses only his 2nd game of this season, and it remains to be seen. Lucas Albert's played well in snatches, but he's still young, still very inexperienced. Yes, they've got a chance. They've always got a chance at home, but they're up against a formidable Tigers side whose fans have come down in huge numbers once again. The question was about that man, Luke Gale. Would they wrap him up in cotton wool? Likewise with Zach Hardacre. Well, given what was at stake, or what is at stake from this game, 2 things. Number one, pretty much guarantees them a home semi-final at a ground where they remain unbeaten in 2017. That's the first carrot. The second is they get the 2 points today, come back from the south of France. They need only 2 more wins to secure the League Leaders Shield, and the Catalan Dragons on home turf are what stands between that and record-breaking year for the Tigers.
The Catalan Dragons not the formidable opponents on their home turf as they used to be. This season, their 2nd worst in their 12-season history in Super League. They've won 4, drawn 1, and lost 5 of 10 at home in 2017, and only surpassed by 2010 when they finished bottom, took the wooden spoon and won only 3 of 13 on home soil. Phil Bentham is the referee for this game then. At the start, Gilbert Brutus in Perpignan, Robert Hicks his video referee. The Castleford Tigers, who've done as is customary now, flown in for the day of the match, do the job, get on the plane and go back home, and they'll be hoping to head back home with the points in the bag. 2 more points in, as John says, this fantastic season for them, but still the business end of the season to come, and that starts after the completion of round 23, and this one of the games that will complete round 23. Still Wakefield against St Helens to come on Sunday. Big game that is as well. And Catalan, first touch of the ball for them, and important that they start well. Here is Justin Horrow, got 2 good tries against St Helens last week. Another defeat it was for Catalan, but they were in the game until virtually the last 8 minutes, and they shipped 3 late tries, only 2 points in it with 8 minutes to go. So if they can reproduce that sort of form and go the 80 minutes, then potentially they could cause Castleford Tigers a few problems.
Well, Navarrete with a pretty forceful challenge, and that set of 6. Castleford trying to defend and make a statement in that defensive set, and likewise the Dragons charging it forward with purpose.
Joel Monaghan underneath it, his brother Michael Monaghan on the sidelines in the Catalan Dragons colours. I wonder if they've exchanged confidences ahead of this game. Joel Monaghan deputising for the injured Greg Eden, of course, sustained that shoulder injury against Salford last time out. Will it finish his season? That's the big question that Cas fans are asking.
It is a big question. I'm looking at the way he left the field last week at Cas. I mean, you would say it was long odds.
40-20. Sorry, John.
Long odds against him returning this season. But Joel Monaghan, you mentioned as well, an able deputy, more of an able deputy. 157 tries in 174 appearances in Super League for the Warrington Wolves and the Cas Tigers. Scored a couple actually after Greg Eden went off that day, so it shows, you know, it isn't just Greg Eden as wonderful as he's been individually this season. It's also who happens to be on that left wing spot on the end of those balls from Hardacre and Gale.
There's Lewis Tierney playing the ball on loan until the end of the season from the Wigan Warriors, winners convincingly over Leeds on Friday night, a result that's helped the Castleford cause, of course. And here is Bird now, Greg Bird. Haven't seen as much of him as Catalan Dragons would have hoped because of injury.
He's a big man huge man for the Catalan Dragons, Greg Bird. If he stands up, he gets through a mountain of work, really industrious player. Big left foot step have you seen, a man who can really get the Dragons on the front foot.
Referee Phil Bentham has called time off.
Wait there.
Greg Millington just gets in the way of Richie Milett. Chips it over the line. Yeah, Greg Millington,
take it back to there.
or Grant Millington, should I say, just shoulder charges the Catalan Dragons half-back out of the way. Phil Bentham getting a report from the sideline.
I wonder if that's what this is about. Robert Hicks is the video ref. Touch judge is on as well.
Wait.
That's what was picked up by the match officials. A good teamwork from them.
Well, they were debating, and Richie Miles asking the question where the penalties are going to be given. As it should be where the ball lands.
Charge, Grant Millington. Okay, that's here.
Joel Monahan just disputing that. Penalty goes the Catalan Dragons' way.
Good field position for the Dragons now. What can he set up? Richie Miley, you can see him pointing. Wants some dummy runners, or he wants his field position set. Navarrete!
Romain Navarrete is tackled just short of those posts, and he gets a penalty with a very dramatic backward flip there. McShane is happy to smile about that, but it's another penalty, back-to-back penalties. McShane thought it was a turnover. Here's Greg Bird then, pressure on the Castleford Tigers defence as Bird reverses to the line and is held up.
Well, now Paul McShane can get to marker. He got a little bit confused there, Paul McShane, the hooker for the Castleford Tigers. It's a bit basic from the Dragons. They'll need to throw more at this Castleford defence.
So Bird plays the ball, Aiton, and they go down the short side, and Gigot fires the pass, looking for Vincent Dupont, who couldn't take the pass, and away come the Castleford Tigers after surviving that assault from the Catalan Dragons.
It's really poor play, isn't it? Early in the tackle count, great field position. You'd think with limited opportunities you would find, most teams have found this season, try and apply a bit of pressure to the Tigers on your home ground. Instead they go for the 9 out of 10 pass with the 20% chance of it coming off, and they've come unstuck. And Cas are doing now what they've done to an awful lot of teams this year, and that's march them downfield.
And Ben Roberts on hands and knees still making progress as they come up to the 40-metre line. Here is Alex Foster now. Foster, Justin Horrow gets a hold of the opposition second rower, who plays the ball just inside his own half. Jesse Seni-Lefeo now. Great strength from him, deputising in this prop forward role. Impressive debut season for him. Nathan Massey.
Lovely flick from Paul McShane. You can go right through this Castleford Tigers team, all having impressive seasons.
Gale not really put under pressure, able to put the kick in. Tierney. And Tierney was...
There's a penalty for Castleford here.
Yeah, an escort was the description Phil Bentham used.
Yeah, it's something that the Tigers have been doing all season. That kick chase led by Shenton. Get themselves 20, 30 metres out from the opposition. And we find an awful lot easier way of starting a set is to box in that receiving winger with a good kick chase. You don't give them yards, the kick return team yards to manoeuvre. And it's a favourable part of the field for Tigers to start their set.
Krishnan Inu was the player who was penalised by referee Phil Bentham, and they could pay a heavy price for that. Dupont just manages to get a hand on Hardacre and stop his progress. Jesse Seni-Lefeo now trying to stretch out. Too far for him, even with his long reach. McShane, Gale quickly on. Hardacre doing well to wrap round. Then they step back in field, and Jai Hitchcock is thrown to the ground by Tony Gigot. The Catalan supporters approving of that. Here comes Millington again, gets the pass away. Myler, I think, got a hand to that. No signal from the referee.
There is intensity in the Dragons' defence here. They've been broken and split a few times, still getting bodies there to shut it down.
The kick comes in. Oh, Inu has got to react to that, and he does. Taps it over the dead ball line.
It's a beautiful kick from Luke Gale and Lewis Tierney. Always difficult for the man in the defensive position to try and catch it. Jai Hitchcock pushes it back. There's the fling from Tony Gigot, aggressive in defence, gets up quick and gets back to his full-back spot.
I think the Dragons have been hard done to here.
Yeah.
Lewis Tierney is adjudged to have knocked that backwards, and then it been knocked dead by Inu, but looking at that 2 or 3 times, it looks like Jai Hitchcock has knocked that on in an attempt to get it back into field. So the Dragons rightly feel aggrieved that they're having to give up possession again.
They do, with the goal line dropout. And here's Jesse Seni-Lefeo. Louis Anderson in as one of the players to make the tackle. Navarrete there as well. Pressure building on the Catalan Dragons defence. Bird trying to withstand it. Rolling forward again. Gale, Hardacre. Oh, Shenton has put that one down. You don't hear that said very often. Michael Shenton couldn't take the pass.
A couple of times they've looked at their left edge, Castleford. They're the best team in the league at creating extra numbers, exploiting space. But the pass went to ground. Shenton, who's been phenomenal this year. We talked about that left edge, and it's always the bloke that puts the ball down that we credit, but Michael Shenton sets up a large part of those tries.
I think Shenton has actually he's got the most difficult job, I think, on that left edge. That group of players. He's the one who's going to have the pressure applied to him. Invariably, they're going to be able to create the extra man with Hardacre. So it's up to Shenton. Going to have some great hands, and he's going to be receiving balls under pressure. And the sides have started to work them out, but you can see a pattern emerging already in this game. Open 5 or 10 minutes. You see where these possession battles start. The Tigers already up on the 30.
Here is Shenton, looking to atone for that rare error. Tackled on his own 40-metre line. Outstanding this season, Michael Shenton. Hardacre drifting across the field. Dupont gets a hold of him and stops his progress. There's more intensity maybe in the Catalan defensive effort than we have seen at times this season. But McMeekin plays the ball. They're just inside the Catalan half. Millington, Ayton wrestling with him, and Millington will not be subdued. Gets the pass away to Gale. Gale finds Shenton. Shenton, Hitchcox. Hitchcox going on the outside. Could go all the way! What a finish from Jai Hitchcox. Is it going to be awarded by video ref Robert Hicks? Phil Bentham reckons they've got to try. What does video ref Robert Hicks think? Has Jai Hitchcox got his first try of the season? If so, what a way to get it.
This is a sensational effort. All started with Grant Millington. The question is on the grounding. First looks, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, and on that replay there's nothing wrong with it. Fantastic work by the front rower. Keeps his feet, finds an offload, and from that position you feel certain it will be a try. It's awarded by the video ref.
What a finish from the former West Tigers player Jai Hitchcox.
Never mind the finish, which was outstanding. What about the pace that he showed once he got into the clear? He's done Tierney on the outside. He's forced Jigo into a despairing dive, and then what a superb finish. That's outstanding stuff from a man who found his opportunities extremely limited this year. I remember us watching and commentating on a game over at Hull FC earlier this year. I think Jai Hitchcock's first appearance for the Tigers that season, scored a brace that day. So he's taking his opportunities when they've been given to him.
We keep talking, don't we, about Greg Eden, who's not available. We don't know when he'll be back. When Cass are at full strength, Greg Minican will always get a gig, but it's that left edge and that left side winger that's available, and Jai Hitchcox certainly staking a claim.
Well, Greg Eden back home with that shoulder injury, hopefully recovering and able to watch this, and I'm sure he will have admired that Eden-esque finish from Jai Hitchcox.
He would have looked on with envious eyes, I think. He'd made that job and that role and that trademark dive his own, hasn't he, this year?
Never mind Greg Eden, it's Greg Louganis. Here's Luke Gale then, out on the sidelines. But it's not much of a barrier to a goal kicker of Luke Gale's ability. What a start this then for the Castleford Tigers.
And that's where it did all start. Grant Millington, who's been exceptional. We can't call him one of the unsung heroes of Super League anymore. People know too much about him, and he's still providing opportunities. So we can witness finishes like that. What an outstanding way for Hitchcox to open his account in the absence of Greg Eden.
And we'd only just talked about that man, Michael Shenton, and what a tremendous job he does for anybody that plays outside him. He gave him half a step, and that was enough for him.
He creates that half a step. He straightens up. He's a centre who carries the ball in two hands, a genuine ball-playing centre. Straightens up, and that attracts the winger. It just stops the winger's tracks, stops the momentum, and makes the winger turn in ever so slightly. And then, if you're a winger of the calibre of Hitchcox and Eden before him, and keep your space in, well, you can expect a ball and some space to run in.
Other winger Joel Monaghan plays the ball. Here is Grant Millington. One of the really successful overseas signings of recent times, Grant Millington. Great bit of business, bringing the former Cronulla and Canterbury man.
He's
a 40-20.
On the third tackle, wonderful vision from the halfback. There it is, Phil Bentham has called it. Now they've got good field position, they're not allowed to take it until the referee allows them to. Look at that quality kick, as accurate as you like. What's the Tigers got?
That's the 7th 40-20 this season from Luke Gale.
Balls come loose.
That's one strip, says the referee.
Alex Foster has had that ball stolen. Alex Foster, again, another player with an opportunity available to him. He's making that second row berth his own. The Tigers choosing to go for 2 points. Unusual for the Tigers, who are very much attack dominated in their play.
Well, maybe they're actually they're learning as they go along. Well, one, the record in Perpignan has not been great over the years, although this is, you know, an entirely different Tigers proposition that we see in 2017. But you know, this is the sort of decision making and the sort of patience that a side who's going to go deep into the playoffs and deep into the knockout rounds, they're going to have to show this. They're going to have to show the cultured side of the game, not just full throttle, foot on neck stuff. This will take them 8 clear.
And this is Luke Gale at his controlling best. A 40-20. They gain a penalty, a tackle or two after, and he chooses to take 2 points.
Phenomenal strike rate for 2017. You would expect, given the way that he just nonchalantly stroked the ball over from the sidelines, this would be a formality. He'll oblige in a second for us. And there you go. 8-0 in Perpignan, the Tigers lead. And that's a happy bunch of fans looking on as their men retake the positions for the restart of this game.
More energy, we need to step up here, boys.
Castleford Tigers 8-0 up then.
Straight us!
And the Catalan Dragons really don't know what's hit them. Castleford have come roaring out of the blocks. The Hitchcock's try and 2 successful goals from Gale. Here is McMeekin now.
The players were claiming that there was an obstruction then. A Castleford player was certainly trying to get out of the way. But good meters made from the kick-off.
McShane. McMeekin now.
Just bashes Richie Myler out the way, Mike McMeekin.
Well, that's better from Sam Mower. That's retaken dominance of this defensive set.
Here is Millington now. The Catalan really in defensive mode virtually since the word go in this game. They had possession from the kickoff, but since then, well, Gigot has the ball back in hand. Can they keep a hold of it? They've been conceding penalties and conceding points. Here is Fouad Yaha now.
The dance sometimes in the tackle, it looks a little unnecessary. It disorientates the player, gets them facing the wrong way, and buys the defensive team that extra half a second they need. It's the difference between sometimes getting caught offside, giving up easy meters, and maintaining control of a defensive set.
Justin Horrow plays the ball, still getting his way back to fitness, having missed 10 games, one of several Catalan Dragons casualties that damaged their season and damaged Laurent Fraissinou's prospects in the job as well. Sad to see him go. Steve McNamara coming in, 5 games in charge, 1 win so far, and that was skin of the teeth against the Lee Centurions on this ground. Big qualifying campaign to come for the Catalan Dragons. At least they'll have home games for the majority of them, and you'd expect them to survive that challenge.
There is cause for optimism in games for phases of 20, 30 minutes. They're competing, and ultimately it's the little things that let them down, giving penalties away. There's a forward pass, Nathan Massey and Paul McShane just getting the lines wrong a little bit. Picks it up from dummy half, McShane.
That's a good call by the referee. It was forward. There was no need for that either.
Greg Eden news, just to pass on. Greg Eden apparently has gone on to social media and said that his shoulder injury is not as bad at first thought. An operation is not needed, and he could be back playing within a month, which is incredible. And to quote him, he says, "Now to few thick cut tough beef sarnies and a rehab programme of around 4 weeks can't sort out."
Well, I'm sure the Cas fans are delighted with that news. It's a difficult injury, it's a painful injury. It's an AC joint injury, but if you read the reports, it's a painful one. There's 3 grades of your AC injury and the joint separation that injury causes. If you can manage the pain, I'm sure he'll do his best to get out there, and that sounds like the plan.
Well, the beef sarnies will obviously make a big difference in that rehab programme, probably tucking into one now as we speak. Watching the Castleford Tigers leading 8-0 in Perpignan against the side that finished 10th in the table in this first phase of the season, and will be involved in the middle eights. That ball's gone to ground, gone backwards, forwards, says the referee.
Again, disappointing from the Dragons. Whenever they've got into good field position, they look apprehensive. That pass should be taken. Greg Bird is far too good of a player not to be able to catch that on the run.
Well, I'll tell you what,
and fulfil his role in that play.
Jesse Senna-Lefebvre could be in some trouble here. It's a late shot. I mean, there's not an awful lot in it, but it's a late shot on a player who's looking away. Greg Bird gone back to fetch the ball. I'm not sure how necessary that was.
Oh, it's Greg Bird again.
This is going to be picked up by the refereeing team.
OK, Rich. Whilst there's a knock-on, we've got foul play followed it, apparently.
That's right, yeah.
All right.
Hit him in the back.
Unnecessary there from Jesse Senna-Lefebvre. Nothing in it for me, but again, you run the risk whenever you do something like that. You run the risk you make.
But he's still tackled him without the ball. It's got to be a penalty. It's got to be a penalty.
Just ask the question.
He's tackled without the ball.
The penalty will go.
He's allowed to regather the ball.
For Catalan Dragons.
Well, Greg Bird was on the receiving end from Jamie Acton, of course, which has cost Jamie Acton the rest of his season. Bird back on his feet after that incident. The penalty, Julien Bousquet is on the field for the Catalan Dragons, hero of that late win over the Lee Centurions. Here is Myler now. Anderson.
Well dealt with, well handled.
Hold the line.
Tigers look comfortable at the minute.
Myler. Here is Gigot. Gigot for Duport. Duport holds off Minikin. Minikin doing well, and they bundle him into touch.
That's a great boost for Minikin's confidence. He's been found out a couple of times this year. Defensive, if there is a weakness to his game, and I wouldn't say it's defensive technique, it's just the weight. He's quite a slight frame, not an awful lot of meat on the bones yet. Still a young character, developing player, but he's handled Duport there, a much bigger man, extremely well.
It's a barnstorming centre, Duport, as well. You'd back him most occasions when he's one-on-one against defenders, but again, not creative enough, no invention to what they're doing, the Dragons. Dealt with very easily by the Tigers and the composed defence that they're throwing in front of them.
You've got to put your right arm over him, Richard, thank you.
So head and feet to the Castleford Tigers, deep in their own territory then. They'll attack from anywhere. They'll attack from anywhere, and Zach Hardacre will lead the attack and show the Catalan cover a clean pair of heels. Yeah, he's chasing. They won't catch him. Yahoo! More like.
That's outstanding. He said this week in the papers, in the trade press, some of the national press picked this up as well. Hardacre, I am a better player now than when I won Man of Steel. Well, on the evidence of this and the decision there to take Fuad Yaha on the outside, well, you wouldn't disagree with him, would you? You cast your mind back a couple of weeks ago. It was a try at Leeds, followed that up a week later with a great break and try at the Mendo's Jungle. Well, I think that's the best of the lot. What an outstanding individual effort by Zach Hardacre.
That's his 8th of the season. What a way to reach that total. And a second of the season against the Catalan Dragons, having scored against them in March.
And a wonderful sight for those Castleford Tigers fans. All behind the sticks, of course, willing their full-back forward. As soon as he scores that try, boots the ball in the air, salutes the fans. I'm sure in appreciation of the numbers that have travelled and the support they've given them all year.
Because he's not a power runner, it's so deceptive as to how quick he's covering the ground there. He's a real glider, such a well-balanced player, and that makes it all the more difficult. As Liam Sutcliffe found out when trying to cover at fullback 3 or 4 weeks ago at Headingley, when he injects pace, it's not immediately obvious, but he just glides past players. Right? That's an outstanding individual effort.
Well, it'll be an outstanding effort if Luke Gale can goal this one. But he's on course for 100 goals in the season. This will put him on 99. Yes, it does. And the Castleford Tigers are on course for another win. This one in Perpignan.
Well, we thought the first try was sensational. Well, this goes some way to beating that. Great players create time and space with the threat of what they're going to do. So players opposing them, defenders, will rock back on the heels, try and let things unfold before they make a decision. We do that at your peril against Zak Hardacre.
The 2015 Man of Steel then extending the Castleford Tigers lead, and the Catalan Dragons have no answer really to the pace and the power and the precision as well of this Castleford Tigers side. Here is Alex Foster.
I think it's the third one, Bill. It's the precision. We've seen simple, fundamental mistakes from the Dragons when they've been in at the right end of the pitch. They can't match the precision of Castleford Tigers.
Well, that's why Shenton put the ball down earlier on. It's so unusual to see things not sticking for them.
They've gone through periods of that this year. They've gone through lulls. It's just that you've not noticed it, or they've not been caught out of it because of some solid defence, a solid defensive mindset that has underpinned 2017. They haven't been caught out because of it. The lulls haven't developed into problems for the Tigers.
Well, have the Catalan Dragons got any answer to this whirlwind start from the Castleford Tigers? Quarter of the game gone. They lead by 14 points to 0. Lewis Tierney plays the ball.
They just look a yard slower, don't they, the Dragons? That's good stuff from the second rower, Louis Anderson, but it looks like somebody's got an unleaded car and put diesel in it.
Well, maybe they've got a bit of fuel now, because Albert is going to go underneath the posts, and the Catalan Dragons come back, and for once the Castleford defence was found wanting, misfiring there, and the Catalan Dragons put the foot down and drove straight through a big gap in the Castleford cover.
And you know, sometimes that's all it needs to be. Anderson, direct, powerful, forceful, finds his front, plays the ball. Bousquet finds an offload because there's a man pushing into the next hole. I'm so impressed with Lucas Albert. The more opportunities he gets at this level, the better he will become there.
And that's a try that doesn't get scored a year ago. Busquets has improved. Now, we're watching his game develop as we've covered these games, and you've seen a different side to him develop. I mean, he's always been big, he's always been able to take the meters, but a late offload through the line, and he's had that developed to the extent that Lucas Albert knows to look for it now as well. I'll tell you, that's a try that, despite the travails of the Catalan Dragons over the last year, you know, full credit to Busquets, that would not have been scored a year ago.
I think he'd have thrown it, but he might not have got an accurate pass away.
First try of the season for Lucas Albert there.
And that's a point worth making. He has got better by making those mistakes, kept faith, kept his nerve, kept doing it, and he gets it right more than he gets it wrong now.
Gigot from bang in front of the posts with no Luke Walsh to do the goal kicking for Catalan. Walsh out of the side.
Here we go, Bousquet, offload to a supporting Lucas Albert, and still has 20 metres and a defender to break. That will do their confidence some good. That will get them in the right mind space. I dare say when they were preparing for this game at the start of the week, they wouldn't have envisaged that 14-0 down before they get anywhere near a foothold in the game.
Well, are they going to be able to capitalise on that? Is this going to fuel a Catalan fight back?
Well, it was an accelerating run from the half-back, certainly showed some pace. 0 to 60 in less than a second.
Here is Samoa making his 100th appearance in the British game. Samoa over 2 stints, a spell with Hull, then back to the NRL, and then back into Super League with the Catalan Dragons, and has had a good season. This is his 20th consecutive game. Greg Bird would love it to be his 20th consecutive, but he hasn't really been able to sustain the, not so much the form. He keeps getting injured and then suspended.
He does, and he keeps making enemies, and people keep injuring him. And Paul Ayton, another player that when he's fit, healthy and able to contribute, makes the Dragons look pretty good. There's a late offload. Paul McShane does a good job there, doesn't it?
Just manages to save the situation, salvage the situation. Double change made by Cass in response to Albert's try. Andy Lynch, you see, the right-hand side of your screen, and Matt Cook as well coming onto the field.
Could Ben Roberts have been pulled up there, because he shoved the supporting player as Ayton offloaded that ball? Well, we saw earlier on, we saw Greg Bird's Catalan earning a penalty when Greg Bird was taken out. Just hypothesising there.
Yeah, you're right.
But hypothesising to nobody in particular.
You're right, and you feel if the Catalan Dragons are going to get anything out of this game, they need a slice of luck, and they need those 50-50 decisions to go with them.
I was going to say they might be unlucky here, because just for a moment it looked as though Castleford were going to cut loose again, but Eden and Horrow just having a little discussion after the ball had gone there. Hardacre and Justin Horrow having the discussion.
He didn't like being on the receiving end of a wedgie, Zach Hardacre.
Who does?
No.
Matt Cook plays the ball, back in action. Good to see Matt Cook back from injury. Hardacre bobbles the ball. Minikin cuts back in field. Still something going on, I think.
Tackle 4 there.
Yeah.
Walk away.
Is it Cook?
We need the Castleford player that ran in, please.
Cook was the man in the middle of it.
Just separate.
Greg Bird is on his haunches. So let's have a look where...
Greg, just walk out past the
line. Is it a late challenge on Ben Roberts?
See more from this angle, so McShane and
it's a late challenge on McShane.
It's not that late though, do you know, is
no.
it? I know McShane takes offence to it, and there's a bit of
and the point you was making about Greg Bird and him being injured, unfortunately for Greg Bird, he's one of those players, when you're playing with him, you'll love him, because when everybody else from the opposition is thinking about levelling up things with him and getting stuck into him, you can probably gain some advantage.
The penalty will probably go
We're
to
happy
the
with Bird's challenge, so I'm going to go against McShane.
Two most ill-tempered players on the field coming together there in McShane and Bird. It was always a recipe for something.
On a hot, sweaty day in Perpignan. They've had a tough journey. Had to be up early this morning.
The tackle. I'm happy with the timing. You've then held his leg, which means he can't rejoin play, so the penalty's against you.
Oh, there we go.
And I think he's got that right. Greg Bird is an antagonistic player, and he does anything and everybody's on him, because most of the time plays like that, the opposition are waiting for an excuse to get stuck into it.
Well, in which case he's picked his target well, because McShane's somebody who doesn't need an excuse, really.
Yeah.
It's a tough game for the match officials as well. It always is, this one. The trip to Perpignan with prickly Catalan, feeling the world is against them.
Yeah, and the crowd as well, they get right into it. Passionate fans, the Dragons fans.
Well, these are dangerous times for the Tigers. You know, they've given up possession and territory. And you feel a Dragons try now would change the complexion of this game, having been firmly in the driving seat for the majority of this opening 25 minutes. You know, a score now, although again there's more evidence there.
Gigo though picks the ball up. Inu now. Inu motors infield, finds Gigo, and Gigo will get another Catalan try. Go under the posts, and they're on the way back. Tony Gigo celebrates. Krisnan Inu was the man who set it up. Referee hasn't awarded it yet. He has now.
Well, I'll tell you, I was just about to say, and just about to throw some criticism, some more criticism at this Dragons attack, because it's not been crisp, it's not been precise, but it's been rescued. There's a hand in from the Tigers and a repeat set as the ball went to ground. Shenton resets the tackle count, and it's Gigot offloads to Inu. That's a nice dummy that sees off the attentions of Hitchcox, and then back on the inside. That's good fullback play, and that's the try that we were talking about that changes the complexion of this game.
The two fullbacks then scoring two good tries. Zach Hardacre, sensational try for the Castleford Tigers, and now his opposite number, Tony Gigot, responds to close the gap after the Castleford Tigers had looked so comfortable and so menacing early on. But Catalan Dragons have got their act together and they have hit back.
Well, when I was looking at this game, I've made note that Tony Gigot needs to be very busy. He needs to be busy, particularly on the middle channel. Tough conditions, hot conditions, the middlemen that are so effective for the Castleford Tigers will at times be gasped, struggling for breath, struggling for air, and need to work hard.
Gigot then with a conversion, bang in front of the posts, and he converts that.
It's scrappy and messy, and Tony Gigot finds a pass, keeps moving, keeps mobile, and the space is there. That isn't technically the middle channel, but you would like to think that the middle players would get back into the right position, right spot, and be on hand to make a desperate tackle to save a try.
What's that bit about? Down with the kids, you would
have a good
understanding what that was.
Yeah.
A celebration, let's say it's a celebration. We've been critical of Tony Gigot in commentaries gone by, and saying that, you know, perhaps his personal discipline has let him down at times, because he's clearly a classy player. And when he lets his rugby do the talking, you can see why he's rated as he is. I think he's top draw personally. He's a very, very, very good player.
14-0 down they were. Catalan have brought it back to 12 points to 14 now, coming up to the half-hour mark in Perpignan. Darryl Powell hoping to celebrate his 52nd birthday, just gone on Friday. Shares it with golfer Paul Casey, who celebrated his at Royal Birkdale. Casey had a pair of shoes, not 52 the day, I think he was 44, because he had a pair of shoes delivered by his equipment manufacturer with PC on one shoe, 44 on the other. I don't know if Darryl Powell's got a pair of shoes from his equipment supplier.
He also shares it with Angela Powers.
And
Brian Carney tomorrow.
And somebody else around that time as well, I think, as the ball goes up
Well
and Hardacre is
taken, Zach
underneath
Hardacre, well taken.
Are you the social committee for our department? You know everybody's business. What's going on?
I do.
It's a
Pays to know.
significant part of the year this is for Barry McDermott and birthdays. Is it today?
It is today, Bill.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, this was just a long-winded way of getting everybody to know what his birthday. Well done. Congratulations.
Hint, hint. Here come the Castleford Tigers. Are they going to be celebrating?
Move, Jason! Go for. Lois, be careful.
Not quite as old as Darryl Powell. Here's Andy Lynch. Well, neither's he, but he's getting that way. He's going to be retiring at the end of the season. 37 years of age, over 500 career appearances, and this is 350th Super League appearance. Tierney fields that kick.
Well, hasn't he been a tremendous servant to the game, Andy Lynch? And he's got a role to play for Castleford Tigers, not only in this game, but for the rest of the year.
Here's Krishnan Inu. If he's in the mood, that is trouble for the opposition. Krishnan Inu.
He's a big man, Inu, and always beats the first man. Very much like Duport, they're big on the edges, the Dragons.
Cass would have talked about this in preparation this week. There's a lot of guys in this side who can play. There's a lot of guys in this side who, if given time on the front foot and given a sniff, can play and will cause you problems.
Two knock-ons there. Castle get the ball at the scrum.
And that's why, despite possession, after a good bit of pressure from Mike McMeekin on the inside there, Castle will be disappointed with the last 10 minutes, because you do feel that the flow of the game has gone to the Catalan Dragons because Castle take the foot off the gas.
Fatigue will play a part. Difficult conditions, you can see everybody taking water on as soon as they can get it over to the players. Castleford Tigers are giving and rehydrating the players.
That crowd around, going around with the water bottle there for his Castleford charges. But it was Jason Baitieri who lost possession under the challenge from McMeekin, so that means head and feed for the Castleford Tigers. Here is Matt Cook, 7 out, gets the penalty.
That's what's killed them all year. That's what's killed the Dragons all year. There's no need for it. They're beaten on the floor. At some point, you've just got to make a decision there. You're going to give up an extra half a second and get off the player, because now you're in real dangerous territory.
Can Castleford capitalise? Roberts bounces off the first challenge, goes round the next, gets the pass away. Monaghan trying to field that one by his toes. He claims it went backwards and is prepared to argue that with referee Phil Bentham, but head and feed to the Catalan Dragons.
Hasn't he been good this year, Ben Roberts? Powerful player. Big enough to play in the pack, fast enough and skillful enough to play in the backs. He's done an admirable job. When everybody's talking about Luke Gale and what a season he's having, it's Ben Roberts who's the glue in that back line. There might have been a question mark over whether Joe Monaghan actually knocked that ball on, but it doesn't matter. It's head and feed to the Dragons.
And a let-off for Catalan, that is, after conceding that penalty and finding themselves deep in their own territory. Now they'll try and dig their way out, and they will get a penalty courtesy of indiscipline from the Castleford Tigers.
Well, you have to be careful here is Phil Bentham. He needs to keep a lid on this game, refocus the players. I'm surprised he's not actually taking a little time out to talk to the captains, because you can hear an awful lot of chuntering in the background. Both sets of players, you know, a combination of the heat, fatigue, and perhaps feeling like they've been harshly done to on a couple of occasions. You feel a sense this is coming to the boil a little bit now.
Well, it probably will be, with temperatures in the region of 30 degrees. That's a great run from Louis Anderson. He's not tackled, gets to his feet, checks with the referee and makes a few more metres. Now he is tackled. Kevin Leroyer, once a teammate, stops his progress.
Well, that's inspirational work from Louis Anderson. 15 metres from the tap.
Baitieri plays the ball. 20 metres out. They're looking threatening again. Here is Gigo. Catalan are going to have to... Dupont onto Fouad Yaha, and Yaha in at the corner. He's taken a bang, but he's got the try. And Catalan have turned this round. 14-0. They're now in front. Fouad Yaha with the try, his 7th of the season.
Well, put this again down to Louis Anderson. Some simple basic stuff, strong running, slick hands finds the edge, and Fouad Yaha manages to evade one defender, picks up an injury possibly from Zach Hardacre then, but Minikin can't get purchase on him. It's an arms tackle, and Fouad Yaha, who's a very, very robust winger, is far too big and strong. It's that step, skip, that creates the edge. Lovely stuff from the Dragons.
Fouad Yaha has taken one in the ribs, I think. In the process of scoring the try, he'll think it's worth it, because that's already put the Dragons in the lead. Whether it's 2 points or 4 points, we'll see once Tony Gigo attempts the conversion, but a word has to be made for Gigo there. He stood the opposition player up in his tracks. It's Ben Roberts, I think, coming across from the inside, who's a very good defender, and the skip across has immediately attracted the attention of Joel Monaghan.
It doesn't look good for Fouad Yaha. I don't know whether the referee is asking to see that finish again.
Jean-Claude Pignol, the veteran Catalan physio.
I'd be surprised if he carries on in this game.
It's all right, mate.
Yeah, if it's a rib cartilage, they're really, really painful injuries.
Remy Cassidy, Thomas Bosch looking on.
Steve McNamara, you just saw at the top of the picture, coming downstairs, half-time approaching. Fouad Yaha is coming off. Grimace from the former Avignon player. But his try has put Catalan in front. Just hearing that Phil Bentham has checked on the challenge with his officials, and there's no thought that there was anything untoward in it. Gigot. His 2 other kicks at goal have been from bang in front of the posts. This is a different prospect.
Time on.
Wide out, sets it on its way, and between the posts.
Again, Myler, Albert combining, and then just that step and go. It sucks in Roberts. Minikin has to come in as well. And then a combination of that finishes up with your wingman Monaghan. He has to make a bigger commitment than everybody else. And it's a lovely ball from Vincent Dupont.
And that's the best angle to see how culpable Zach Hardaker is in that challenge, and the answer is none at all. He doesn't look to do anything deliberately. There's no malicious act there.
Doesn't stop it hurting any less
Yeah.
for Fouad Yaha, although he'll be going off to the sidelines to receive some treatment
First,
with a little bit of a
move on
smile inside, I guess, because he's just put his side in front for the first time in this game as we approach the half-time.
Surrender!
18-14 the scoreline then. Catalan lead,
Goal 2.
having been 14-0 down, but Fouad Yaha
Looks
off
like
the
he's
field.
still on.
Is he? That is him at the top.
Yeah, it looks like he's still on.
He's
'cause I
the
thought-
unhappy-looking one at the
Get
top of the
square.
picture.
Yeah,
Holding his side.
yeah, with a grimace on his face. He's putting his poorly face on.
On 3.
Jason Taitieri gets the offload away. Catalan maybe in the mood now. Here's Louis Anderson, the crowd lifting as they do at the Gilbert Brutus when things are going their way. Dupont. And Gigot drills the kick into the corner. Good kick as well, right side of that flag.
It's okay, they'll take that. Couple of minutes to go before half-time. But on a number of these Catalan games, you get to a point in the game where you think it should now be the team that are used to, acclimatised, train, live and are accustomed to these conditions to push the pace of the game, not slow it down.
Okay, fellas.
Darryl Powell's first game in charge of the
Let's go,
Castleford
come on.
Tigers was 18th of
reactions
May
in the rock, lads.
2013
Spot on
when they were unlucky to lose
Keep it going.
30-39 in Perpignan.
Right arm, Richie.
But
Greg, left arm.
Since then, things have got better, and where
Out.
are they now? Well, top of the table, and a win in Perpignan, and there's 10 points between them and their nearest challengers as they go in to the Super 8s, and that league leader shield would almost be in their grasp.
Mathematically, Castle's far from a conclusion you can draw at the moment. Castle are going to win this game. The Dragons are in the box seat at the moment, and they're playing with a greater momentum and greater intensity. But it would be this plus 2 others, and you wouldn't mathematically guarantee, but in all reality, you probably see the league leader shield at Cass.
But certainly a home semi-final. Here is Luke Gale, though. Long way to go in this game. That went forward, and I think that just slipped out of Hardaker's hands, out of his sweaty palms.
It was a good defensive set from the Dragons. Some real sting in the tackle. Steve McNamara speaking to his coaching staff, Jerome Guise, Alex Chan, Greg Bird, influential people in the changing room. They didn't start the game the best, that's obvious, but to come back to show the character, regain control, I think that'll please Steve McNamara going into the dressing rooms. Every game will be the same, I fear, for Catalan Dragons. Stop giving away penalties, and let's give ourselves a chance.
Here is Krishnan Inu. Had a strong first half. Has got stronger as the first half has gone on.
Caught it. He caught it. 1.
Catalan, or rather Castleford, complaining there was a Catalan knock-on there. Here is Benjamin Garcia now. Only his 3rd appearance in the last 9 games for Garcia. Injury and suspension have disrupted his season. Busquet just bobbles that ball out. And it reaches Jason Baitieri now. Myler there at the bottom of the picture, just directing operations, telling people where he wants them. Tierney takes the pass from Horo, but then has to scamper back infield, and he's hounded down. Shenton it is who eventually makes the tackle. Justin Horo now. Myler hoists that kick towards the posts, and it's taken by Ben Roberts.
Yeah. Richie Myler, I don't know whether they thought he was playing the crossbar challenge then.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he had players who were waiting to be told what to do. had a crack at the right edge, and he chose to put the ball high near the goal post.
Well, the conversation from the two respective dressing rooms will focus on two similar things. For Steve McNamara and Darryl Powell, it'll be continue to find those late offloads and stop those late offloads from the Dragons, because it's the nucleus of everything the Dragons are doing well and the cause of all that man's problems.
Darryl Powell coming down to give that half-time talk. Here is McMeekin. Hooter about to go any moment. There he goes. And McMeekin and Dupont just having a little word. Blood on the nose of the Castleford Tigers second rower, but a bloody nose really for the Castleford Tigers in the second quarter of this game. I beg your pardon, the penalty awarded.
It's a late shot, it's a high shot rather, from Vincent Dupont.
I think Catalan have set off for the dressing rooms.
He's going to have a kick for goal. I don't like to see those penalties. Mike McMeekin's nowhere near getting up to play that ball. If that was what the penalty was for.
The penalty was for a high shot, I'm pretty certain of that. Mike McMeekin took exception, actually dropped the ball and went for Dupont. And the half-time hooter has kind of distracted everybody from what is going on here, and that's Zach Hardacre, which is an interesting choice of kicker. Maybe they feel he's got the range.
First attempt of the season.
Boys, remember,
There's certainly no injury for Luke Gale. We've seen that much already. Gale's already got one from the sideline following the Hitchcock's try. So this may purely be kicking range. Don't forget, Hardacre's the man who kicks you off from the halfway line.
From just inside then, the Catalan half. Hardacre gives it to Welly and gets it on target. And right at the very end of an eventful first half, Zach Hardacre narrows the deficit to 2 points. He's scored a great try, he's kicked a heck of a goal as well, and that's taken a bit of the wind out of the Catalan sails. After their great comeback, 14-0 down, they've taken an 18-16 lead and set up what could be a great second half. It's a beautiful day in Perpignan, beautiful evening in Perpignan, and quite a game going on at the Gilbert Brutus, where the Catalan Dragons lead by 18 points to 16, having trailed 14-0 after Hitchcock's and Hardacre plus Gale with 3 goals had put them into a good position. Catalan hitting back, Albert Gigot, Yaha with the tries, 3 goals from Gigot, and Hardacre with that booming penalty just on half-time, meaning it's a 2-point game and a very entertaining first 40 minutes.
It started as people expected, most of us expected, that was Cass on the front foot. Shenton, that's straight up there, just attracts the attention of Tierney. And then in the absence of Greg Eden, what a finish from Hitchcock. Just look at Shenton here, left foot, ball in 2 hands, Tierney has to hold. Gives Hitchcock the space, well, he didn't need asking twice, what a finish. That was 6-0 after 10 minutes, and then straight off the scrum, the try and a half. The man who glides, who doesn't run, but covers 90 metres and looks really good doing it. The try and a half, after a penalty from Gale, took us out to 14-0. Look at the break on the inside, again ball in 2 hands, stepped on the outside of Fouad Yaha, and he's got a sense of where everybody is. Just a late adjustment to account for Lewis Tierney. 14-0, 19 minutes gone.
All Castleford Tigers in the opening quarter, and then it was Catalan, allez. Beautiful work from Bousquet, who finds a wonderful offload to his supporting half-back Lucas Albert. One of the best players for the Dragons in that first 40 minutes has been Louis Anderson. Some robust drives, some forceful carries. And Louis Anderson doing a lot of the donkey work that gives players like Albert and Tony Gigot the time and space. Does incredibly well to pick that ball up, find his centre and stay in the frame, and on hand in that middle channel to pick up the scraps. 27 minutes, Gigot gets the second try for the Dragons. Just watch his ethic, Alex Foster is drawn into the centre and leaves the fullback open and gets the ball down just at the side of the sticks. And then on 35 minutes, a lovely sweeping play, a judder, a shudder, much like Michael Shenton, buys a bit of time on the edge for the winger, just stands up Ben Roberts with that step there. Miniakin goes in, Monaghan bites in, and Fouad Yaha just collects a knee from the fullback, but nothing wrong with that, and Fouad Yaha able to carry on.
18-14. Well, that became 18-16 at the half-time with this. We wondered what the reason for Hardacre taking a penalty. We agreed that it'd be all about the range he could get. Well, wasn't he just so?
What a way to kick your first goal for your new club, the Castleford Tigers. Zach Hardacre doing just that. 18-16. I didn't know you could yodel, Barry. That was impressive. What an impressive first half that was. What an impressive second half it could be. Castleford looking for a 10-point lead at the top of the table. Catalans looking for some momentum as they head for the qualifier. All to play for in the second half. Lots to look forward to on Sky Sports. The World Match Play Darts is on tonight on Sky Sports Action from 7 o'clock. Tomorrow there's the Grand Prix of Aachen, the show jumping from midday on Sky Sports Arena. And on Monday the ATP World Tour 500 comes from Hamburg. Day one of that from 10 AM on Sky Sports Arena on Monday. Second half to look forward to at sun-kissed Gilbert Brutus in Perpignan. Catalan Dragons 18, Castleford Tigers 16 at half-time. Great support for the Tigers in Perpignan. Great time of the year to be out there watching your rugby league. A tough time of the year to be out there playing your rugby league. Very hot and hardly a breath of air. So it's going to be a grueling second half, and will that come into play?
Well, John made a good point about the second phase. The offloads, instead of doing a set of 6 tackles, making it 7, 8 because of the extra effort you put in. When Catalan Dragons have done it, they've had good results from it. And I keep saying it, to cope with the conditions, to cope with the dehydration, the mental fatigue, you would think that the advantage would be with the Dragons.
Having played down in Perpignan on a number of occasions, though, you do. There's an extra bit squeezed out you mentally because it's your one shot down there that year. Very often, this year is arguably the worst example for that. Catalan, great home support, great home record, and you always wanted to go down there and perform. I think it's the ones who are the ones who continue with their game plan the best. That game plan would revolve around shutting down that offload will prevail.
Second half underway then, from the boot of Tony Gigot. It's the boot of Zach Hardacre. Move! That's narrowed the deficit right on half-time with that high shot on Mike McMeekin. And Mike McMeekin, you could just see there at the bottom of the picture. First tackle, he had his hand up, and obviously blood still flowing there by the look of things. Asking for some assistance.
Wait.
Play continuing, with Lynch playing the ball. The Castleford Tigers won on their last visit to the Gilbert Brutus. That was in the Super 8s in September last year, 34-28. They won that one. We're going to get a similarly high-scoring game here. We've already got 18-16 on the scoreboard as Kevin Laroyer, back on familiar territory, plays the ball. Gale hoists the kick, and Gigot takes the ball. And noticeable that maybe this is something Steve McNamara has been working on. Gigot has kept his mind on his job in this game because he gets easily distracted, doesn't he?
Well, that's the biggest criticism that we can level at him. And anybody worth the salt would see his obvious qualities. Great run there. Good yards from Catalan Dragons early on. Yeah, he's a fantastic player, a classy player. That was always his Achilles heel, was his discipline, his lack of. He lost his concentration, got frustrated when things weren't going his way. That'd be your number one point, was it? If you're going to try and coach and improve that player, that's what you'd be focusing on.
Well, here's Greg Bird, who will have a coaching role at the Catalan Dragons after signing that 5-year deal. That means he's got 3 years as a player, 2 years on the coaching staff, as Myler puts the kick in. Hardacre fields it. Myler tries to field him on the follow-up, but Hardacre avoids the first challenge.
And that's better. Keep the ball in play. Keep the tempo quick. The Dragons, well used to playing in these conditions. Train, live, exist in these conditions. The Castleford Tigers out of the comfort zone.
Well, as I said, they won on their last trip here, so they know it can be done, but they don't have a great record. 3 of 12 is all they've won. Left on the ground by Lynch.
He gets his head in the wrong way, but
it was a low elbow there. It wasn't actually stuck out by Lynch. It's just a bump. Oh, it's come right off the point of his shoulder.
He's got his head in the wrong position there. He's going for a right shoulder tackle with his head on his right shoulder instead of being on his left shoulder.
I'd like a close-up of his face now and see what it looks like, because maybe the hair exaggerated the force of the impact. He seems to be walking around easily enough.
Sorry, yes, it's 5, Luke. No, it's 5. That was the first.
Shrugs off the tensions of the physio.
5.
He's just got that all wrong, hasn't it?
Hold, lads.
Andy Lynch shielding the ball, gets his right shoulder to the grindstone. He's allowed to do that. Anyway, play on.
Oh, which they do. It goes backwards, does it? No, says referee Phil Bentham. Dutour made a hash of that.
Right, the technique's wrong. Sometimes you've got too much time under these sorts of balls. But if you're in any doubt, you've got to turn your body, let the ball come across you as you catch. And then if there's any problems in receiving the ball, it's likely to come out the back. I mean, you see he's facing forward, off the chest. Elbows aren't close enough together. And that's a problem. You know, they're the ones that really kill you. Because 1, Vincent Duport knows he's better than that. 2, his teammates know he's better than that. And 3, everybody now is sitting on the back foot with a set of goal line defence to come.
Thank you, Rich.
Mike McMeekin with that left nostril bunged up with cotton wool. And Catalan have got to do some defending now. And Cook has lost that ball in the very first tackle of that set.
Now he's a big man, Cook. Matt Cook, whenever he carries the ball forward, he demands a physical presence to meet him.
Yeah, boys.
Greg Bird, as he does so many times, gets his shoulder in, actually loses his feet. Such is the power of the run from Cook. I'm thinking we saw a mistake from Vincent Duport. I wonder whether Vincent Duport has been forced out to the left wing. We'll have to try and see whether Fuad Yaha is still on the pitch. High tackle from Shenton.
Just shrugs it off. Frustration for the Castleford Tigers then. Losing possession and then conceding the penalty.
It's high, but it's shirt more than anything else. I not disagree with the referee. Player safety is the most important thing. Dragons on the front foot. Horrow looks almost recovered. Well, there'll not be a player out there at this stage of the season that's not carrying something.
Well, 1 or 2 of them have been carrying injuries for quite some time in Catalan colours, with Jason Baitieri. One of them missed a large chunk of the season. Bird, that look forward, it was.
You can see the tactics, though. They're sitting things on Gale and Roberts with the big men. It's Anderson there. Hits the line. Yeah, it's just forward from coming out of Greg Bird's hands. But you see the principle's right, what they're doing. The execution was just off there. But the very best there, Robertson come up with a legs tackle and a quick play the ball. And you know how dangerous Catalan have been in the first half.
I wonder whether Bird's decision was made because Minikin is trying to get out and snatch that player. It's the half-back Lucas Albert that's coming round the back.
Out and back in off the foot.
I think that's a defensive win from the Catalan Dragons.
He's made the option late and he's decided to go for the front runner. Yeah.
18-6 the scoreline in. It's 18-16 in Perpignan. In Toulouse, 18-6 is the scoreline between Toulouse and Featherstone Rovers in a crucial championship game. Halifax will be keeping an eye on that, hoping that Featherstone can do them a big favour in France this evening, but not going their way at the moment. Halifax with Hull Kingston Rovers to come on Sunday. Big game for them. Big action in the championship. The sides, Halifax and Toulouse, vying for a top 4 place and taking on the Catalan Dragons in the battle for Super League places.
That's a phenomenal take. Gigot with people in front of him to get up, leap and catch that ball. Well done, sir. And then earns a penalty as well. Lynch a little bit too late for the referee.
What about Catalan against Toulouse in the qualifiers?
Are we putting our hands up to do the inevitable trip down to the south of France to cover that one, Bill?
Well, what a game that would be.
You think of the crowd that get there, the interest you would get, and think about as a concept in a Super League based in England to have 2 French teams, 2 European teams
in the European Super League. What an outrageous suggestion. McShane and Baitieri just taking a moment there because the heat is maybe getting to these players. Sultry evening now in Perpignan. You can see in the crowd, maybe in the background, 1 or 2 people fanning themselves as Catalan edge forward. 4 tackles gone. That ball goes to ground.
That was touched by McMeekin.
Is that Richie Myler fanning himself or indicating that the ball was
he's
batted
saying
down?
That the ball was knocked out of the hand. Let's see which way Phil Bentham he agrees with.
I thought I hit the ball.
Myself, it's Paul Ayton who picks up the ball, and there's the hand from Mike McMeekin. Richie Myler was just reminding him.
Got to go off our call.
Phil Bentham, we talk about the players under fatigue. Phil Bentham, he has to keep his focus. He has to make sure that under these stressful circumstances, physically and mentally demanding, he keeps right on top of his game.
So head and feed to the Catalan Dragons. The start of the second half has been a bit scrappy. Errors, neither side really getting any traction. Misfiring really. Dupont plays the ball. Here's Justin Horro. Alex Foster and Kevin Leroyer with the tackle. Paul Ayton picks it up and drops it off to Jason Baitieri. Such a willing worker, the Paris-born player. Ayton. Myler trying to step his way through. Richie Myler. Luke Gale scrambling in defence. Get the quick play of the ball. Greg Bird finds Gigot. Gigot puts the brakes on, gets the pass away, finds Garcia out to Dupont. Little chip kick ahead, and it bobbles up nicely for Joel Monahan. Disappointing.
Richie Myler takes that ball forward. They had 3 shots virtually in the same 3-metre square area, and when it came time to ship the ball out, Castleford, ruthless as they are in defence and attack, snuffed it out.
Well, I'm going to put
another penalty.
I'm going to put that down as a defensive win as well. Ben Roberts decided early on he was going to go out and he was going to pressurise and go and get Tony Gigot. He did, and Gigot decided regardless he was going to go on with the play he'd initially envisaged. And then that's how you end up at the end of that set. Dupont in a corner, poor kick, penalty midfield. And the complexion of this game could change markedly because there's one team been on top in this opening 9 minutes, and that's the Dragons.
Here is Andy Lynch now, hanging up his boots at the end of this season. 19th season in the top level for Andy Lynch. McMeekin. Garcia, it was down low. Gigot, I beg your pardon, with the tackle. The pass finds Foster, it was forward. Oh, Alex Foster, furious. He was on his way for his first try for the Castleford Tigers. He cannot believe it.
Only just as well. It's Massey, and Luke Gale floats that pass. I think that Foster's run forces that pass to be floated a little bit further than obviously the referee would like.
The thing they'll be most frustrated about is that because of the line that Foster had taken, he started wide and then cut in late. He didn't need to be. He didn't need to be for the gap. It created the gap anyway. Just needed to be there a second slower.
Second roll,
second later.
over. Luke Gale, get out
and you walk through just the same.
So still waiting for the first points of the second half, and the point made there by Phil Bentham was the scrum offence. by Castleford Tigers, the penalty to the Catalan Dragons.
They are basic mistakes there, and I'm sick of seeing referees blowing whistles at scrums because either forwards are breaking too quick or backs are getting off the line too quick.
I think this rule about being able to hold it in the back of the scrum, I don't see what the advantage for anybody else other than just to generate an opportunity for a penalty.
But it's there, so
get rid of it.
Agree the rules, not agree the rules, adhere to the rules, or you surrender possession.
Chuck him out, Greg.
On penalty goes against the Catalan Dragons. Greg Bird penalised.
I've seen you move sideways.
He's moved off the mark, so Phil Bentham thinks.
Bird protests his innocence for what the referee deemed was an offence of moving off the mark.
Again, that's
The least said about all of that, the better. Castro on the front foot.
That's another one that's in there, so adhere to the rule or the referee will blow his whistle.
There's some very easy changes they can make, though, couldn't they, to the rules to make this game better and to remove some of this confusion.
Well, the replay from our host broadcasters might remove some of the confusion there, but we won't get a chance to see it, maybe in a minute. But it's a Castleford Tigers penalty. Here is Roberts. And edging forward now, McShane, Massey. Here is Gale now. Will they click this time? Shenton. Inu gets a hold of him.
Dealt with well, Inu.
Wait.
Good shift.
10 metres out, sorry Barry. Here is Gale now. Massey once more, but he's driven back. Thibaut Margalet in the tackle there to assist Baitieri. Good defence from the Catalan Dragons. That's the fifth. The kick from Gale out wide, looking for Monaghan. Bats it back. It comes to Minikin. Kicks ahead. Minikin will chase and score.
What a superb individual effort. That's vision there for you. That is some vision there. Look at the response from the Catalan Dragons. Minikin over, and isn't he pleased with himself? And why shouldn't you be?
16th try of the season.
It's a kick wide from Gale. Monaghan, one of the tallest on the field, back on the inside. He sees the doors closing, does Minikin. That's a really hard skill to execute. And the pace and fingertip stuff to ground the ball. Well, that's top draw. Take a bow, Greg Minikin, cast back in front.
Well, Greg Minikin has experienced the other side of the coin on this ground as a York player. He suffered, or was part of the side that suffered a club record 92-8 loss on this pitch. This is a different story.
It is, and it all comes about Monaghan back, as he's done throughout his career, leaps higher than anybody else. But I agree with you, Wellesley, the skill to catch that ball, pick it up, put it on the end of your toe and chase it. And I don't believe for 1 second that play was going to be executed until Luke Gale had the ball in his hand. He saw what was available to him, and that's the difference between Castleford and many other teams. When they are playing that fluid style, when they are making it up in inverted commas, they do it better than anybody else.
Yeah, that was 2013 when Greg Minikin and York had a horrendous afternoon in Perpignan, 92-8. In fact, he made his full debut for the Castleford Tigers in Perpignan in 2016, got 2 tries and still ended up on the losing side. But that was great skill, and that's familiar skill from Luke Gale. The Tigers fans smiling again.
Well, great signs for Castleford. The opening 10 minutes of this second half belonged to the Dragons. They couldn't convert any of the chances, and Castleford Tigers, under stress, had to respond, and they responded in a positive, well thought out and well executed fashion.
The more you see that, Barry, the better it looks. You see the window he had there, the space he had to kick into. He didn't really have much chance to kick across the in-goal area. He had to weight it really well to give himself the time to get that ball down, a chance to get the ball down before it ran dead in goal. Tigers back in front, the advantage is 4 points.
Catalan 18, Castleford 22. Great game going on at the Stade Ernest Argelès in Toulouse, where Toulouse are leading Featherstone Rovers 20 points to 16.
Square, Sam. Goal 3.
Similar sort of contest here, just the 4 points in it.
Stand.
Young Margaret adding his weight as he's done all season. Another impressive forward. Trying to add some energy in it. The game in the first half was in quarters. The opening quarter was the Tigers. The last quarter was the Dragons.
Outside.
Good.
Roberts belts the kick downfield, and Tierney desperately hoping that would find some whitewash. It didn't. What a kick it turned out to be. How about that?
Well, I didn't finish my sentence because it looked a good kick, then it looked like it was going to be a bad kick, but it ended up being a phenomenal kick.
That was phenomenal timing.
They're going to check this. They're going to check this because I don't think anybody can quite believe, least of all Lewis Tierney, what just unfolded. 50-metre, Hitchcock is onside, ball's bounced. He absolutely hugged the touchline, then the touching goal line, and then a great shot once given the opportunity from Jai Hitchcock's. Touch judge, who you can see right of his shot here, he didn't have any doubt. He's probably best placed out of any of us to see whether that had touched the sideline. It hasn't. And then just that last sit-up. That's great work from Hitchcock. Because I think, 9 out of 10 times you look at that and you'd say, what happens next? And you'd say that going to run dead. Hitchcock would have been forgiven for pulling up his run, but he hasn't. I think he's shown up admirably in the absence of Greg Eden today.
Did it not hit the whitewash there?
Right.
I don't think.
No.
The referee. I don't think the referee thinks.
Move. Hold goal.
Goal line dropout, courtesy of that amazing kick from Ben Roberts.
Goal 2.
And that's something that maybe Castleford Tigers can take advantage of now. Here is Alex Foster.
3. Move.
The former Wetherby Bulldog plays the ball. Gale. Jesse Seni-Lefeo is back on the field. Ever present in his debut season. He has been a great recruit. Leroyer spins, gets the pass away to McShane. Gale fires the pass to Shenton. Shenton was maybe going to try and link up with Hitchcock, but takes the tackle.
Same play.
Crossfield. Monaghan underneath it, flings the ball back this time. Myler is there to gather it.
Well, the two former Warrington Wolves combined. Unfortunately, they both had opposite shirts on. Monaghan gets up, same play. Gale to Monaghan in the corner. He passes the ball, but Richie Myler is on hand this time.
Surrender! Goal 3.
So Catalans survive there. They trail
4.
to the Super League leaders, the Castleford Tigers, 22-18.
On 4.
And Thibaut Margalet, this 24-year-old who had a spell with Sheffield last year and has been getting some game time in recent weeks. That's a good kick. And Hardacre, is that a bit of frustration?
Well, it's frustration because I think he thought for a second about taking that, and then even despite the pressure from the inside, thought about taking that on the foot. On balance, he would have been running too quickly towards the touchline. Myler's got the bounce. He's pleased with himself. And the Tigers are going to start from their own 10. It's an opportunity now for the Dragons. There's somebody there in that pack who should be saying, make first contact, good first contact. There's going to be a back rower coming out there. Really put some pressure on this Tigers clearing set. Restrict their meters. The reward for that is not in the next 60 seconds, it's in the next minute and a half when you're in possession again in good field position.
Margalet, Mower and Anderson the front row. Just a bit of a shove from Anderson there, but Monaghan takes the ball. This is the ground where in 2014 the Castleford Tigers missed out on the league leaders trophy. An agonising experience, so close on that occasion. A win here and they could be close to actually lifting that. Still a long way to go. They would have still work to do, but 10 points ahead going into that phase of the season. That's some advantage.
And there's 4 of the 5 outside backs there who've taken that ball 65 metres. Not ended up being a good set for the Dragons. Ended up being a great set for the Tigers. That's a 90-metre set.
Foster hounds Tierney, and the Wigan player on loan for the remainder of this season with the Catalan Dragons takes the tackle, plays the ball, and here is Krisnan Inu.
Now look at the difference. If Castleford get this right now, this is about restricting metres. Don't rush up, control the tackle, control the ball. Look at the work going on in the ruck there. In contrast that to the last defensive set from the Tigers.
This is tackle 3.
And Dupont is in some pain.
Oh, well, it's a specific area as well that we're looking at, that he could have got into some trouble. And he could maybe caught a stray something.
Kevin Leroy, that's former Catalan Dragons player, of course.
Leroy against his former teammates.
This is an interesting one for the doctor to look at.
No, foul play makes completely different.
And it's an interesting one for the referee to decide on. And
well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to jump to conclusions here, but that's potentially naughty play, is that, isn't it, from Kevin Leroy?
Not potentially.
Doesn't look great, does it?
Certainly is, if you're Vincent Dupont.
Our player should at no point be putting his hand between anybody else's legs, whether it's by accident or not.
Kevin Leroy is the culprit, and we're just hearing referee Phil Bentham, who's summoned Kevin Leroy, and I think he's gone to the sin bin. He has. That unsportsmanlike act on his former club colleague. Leroy, of course, once a Catalan Dragon.
It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous anyway. We'll come back to the nature of what went on there anyway, but Cas, through that, have lost a man off the field for 10 minutes at a crucial point of the game and 30 metres in this set. Ridiculous.
Well, I think Vincent Dupont is back on his feet. Bit tender, but they have numerical advantage at the moment, and that was potentially dangerous from Ben Roberts.
You've got to keep your composure. When the intensity of games start to lift, that's a lovely offload. Margaret.
On 2 back.
It's gone backwards. It's Lucas Albert now, first half try scorer for the Dragons.
Goal 3.
Eno goes off on a run, and Castleford are penalised again under a bit of pressure here.
No, again, this is...
Luke Gale is going to have a talking to. Michael Shenton, the captain, intervening.
I can't let it go. No, the first defence is the interference. No, that came after.
Shenton arguing the case, but Phil Bentham saying the first offence was by the Castleford man.
He's bang on. He's bang on. Lucas Albert trying to get up and play his ball. Luke Gale tangled up.
Move! Get to the line!
Castleford Tigers have to defend for their lives now.
Well, now then, can Catalan take advantage of Leroy's sin-binning and that penalty? They are close to that try line. McShane tangling with Myler. Ayton goes for it. He's held up. Surely he won't get that ball down with the number of bodies around him. They do the job. McShane in among them. Jesse Lenefenig. Jesse is there to make the tackle.
Excellent work from the Tigers. On hand, composed. They secure the ball, preventing the Dragons player putting it down.
If at first you don't succeed, just say Jesse. Play continues. Here is Sam Moa. Moa! He's got the taste for tries this season, Sam Moa.
Some cynical play now popping in all over the place. He starts off with Leroy. Yeah, I'm not surprised, and it's the correct decision. They've had the last 2 minutes has been potentially catastrophic for the Tigers. Start with Leroy and some real dirty play there. If that has been sin bin for what we think it is. Luke Gale overworking the player in a ruck, and then that right in front of the referee. That's just daft. It's daft, and it's a sign of fatigue and frustration. And if the Catalan Dragons have got any sense here, well, what would you do? Well, I'm saying, if they've got any sense, they'd keep going at
keep the pace of the game. I've said it a number of times. Keep the pace of the game and high,
but then that's
high and intense.
That's a give me right in front of the sticks.
There's a man in the sin bin. They've got a numerical advantage.
Can't, mate. It's a leg
And as
injury.
I keep saying, they should be used to the conditions.
Well, they've certainly got the momentum. The Tigers are the fingers hovering over the self-destruct button at the moment.
But Shane is back on his feet. Phil Bentham just getting him back on the try line where the rest of his teammates are as they face another assault from the Catalan Dragons. Margalay is over that try line.
Held up.
And is held up again.
Wait, goal.
Can the Tigers, down to 12, withstand more pressure? Anderson. Cas fans appealing for a forward pass. Anderson is over. He's held up.
Twice in two plays they've done that, and it's pulling them over the try line and holding them up. It buys them effectively 2 or 3 metres coming off their own line.
Two, mate.
And the seconds keep ticking along, and all the time that Leroy is off the pitch and the Tigers are vulnerable.
Good experienced play from the Castleford Tigers. Here is Lucas Albert. Catalan trailing by 4. Inu now. Inu is held up.
That's a great tackle.
Now, last week against Saints, he provided the scoring pass for Justin Horrow in just that position. Couldn't do so on that occasion. Myler gets the pass away. Horrow all wrapped up. Great work from the Tigers. Great work in defence. And applause all round from the fans behind them, from the players themselves, as they withstand the Catalan Dragons.
Well, they may look back 2 months from now, and we've been saying this regular. We said it after the victory against Wakefield. There are moments in a season, and I think we've witnessed one there. 3 penalties on the bounce, on a team warning, down to 12 men, away from home against a resurgent Dragons side. They've been tested and stretched, and they maintained their composure and kept their cool when it counted. Are we watching a champion side for 2017 in the making?
No, I called time off ages ago.
Still
there we go again.
17 minutes to go, but the Tigers supporters
Thanks, Rob.
trying to sustain their side through this difficult phase of the game. Still on a team warning with Kevin Leroy in the sin bin.
Just on the team warning, there's no set time for the team warning to expire. It is a sufficient amount of time from the time at which the warning has been given that
if their behaviour doesn't improve.
The referee, it's like the headmaster step, correct?
3, move.
Well, they've got to be squeaky clean now.
Hold.
In terms of discipline and in their defence.
Surrender.
Here is Massey as they work the ball upfield. McShane seems to have recovered from that knock. McMeekin now.
5.
Battling performance as ever from Mike McMeekin.
Goal.
Big game from him against Salford last time out. Gale hoists the kick. Again across field. Tierney is underneath it. Bags of time to see that one coming down. And then evades Millington, but Massey is there to make the tackle.
Well, that's an important contributor, Grant Millington. Not only the work that he does with the ball, he fulfills effectively 2 roles, a front rower's role and an extra pivot's role, but it's his defensive work that's needed at the minute.
Garcia. Benjamin Garcia. Only his 3rd appearance in the last 9 games. Has fond memories of playing against Castleford. He scored a hat-trick against them in 2015 when he was really in a purple patch. That ball batted down by a Cas hand. It'll be head and feed
Touched
to
by
the Catalan
Monaghan.
Dragons.
Touched by Monaghan.
Just back here.
Got the space on the edge.
It needed to be. I think maybe the Tigers have got a man. They got the numbers wrong at the start of that. Ben Roberts has left that line very, very early. He's not the sort of player to shoot out the line unless it's absolutely necessary. And then Monaghan has tipped that ball. They had 2 men over. My feeling there is that they misjudged very, very early on the numbers that were coming down that short side. It's that involvement from Myler's pass that's going to result in another Catalan head and feed.
Anderson was in clear space. He had a player outside him. If any of the Castleford defenders have tried to cover him, but it's head and feed to the Dragons.
The clock running down on the sin binning and on the remainder of the game. Castleford managing the game pretty well at the moment.
There's a significant substitution made as well. Busquets on and Beattieri off, but the one before that, Greg Bird rejoins the field. Arguably one of their most influential players with 15 minutes to go. 4 points behind.
Hold.
See what his reintroduction will do.
Here is Myler now. Here is Greg Bird. That left thigh strapped, and he gets bundled to the ground by McMeekin. And they're going to be down another man here.
Well, there's the answer to the question, how long does a team warning last? Because I don't think that's a professional foul on its own worthy of 10 minutes.
It's your man, Greg Bird. He causes so much attention. Everybody is honed in on him.
Well, now this is going to take some effort from the Castleford Tigers. Leroyer might be able to return soon, but there'll still be a man down with McMeekin now joining him in the sin bin. Just 11 out there. This is going to be some effort. They're on their own try line. They're under pressure. Myler, little kick from him, and Dupont will dot it down, or has he? Monaghan appealing that he got him into touch. He gets the plaudits of Ben Roberts.
I think he's right. I think he's done more than enough, Joe Monaghan. He catches that ball, he can't get it out and reach out because it's tucked under his wing. Let's watch the trailing leg. And he drops it.
It's not that, Zach Hardaker's got a toe in there. Zach Hardaker, have a look at Hardaker's boot when he comes across. Great effort in the first instance from Joel Monaghan. We're looking at the left foot, or the right foot rather, of Zach Hardaker. You can't see it from that angle. Right foot of Hardaker, lime green boots, just on the tip of the ball.
Now here's the question. Zach Hardaker is trying to prevent a try. Is that dangerous play because he's got a boot near the ball?
No, it's a boot near the head would be a problem, wouldn't it?
The ball is near his head.
He's reaching out. He's reaching out there to try and score a try. I think Zach Hardaker's got every right to do that. Ultimately, this will go down as because it's gone up as a no try, this will go down as a loss of possession. I don't think we can see at this point whether Duport's feet or knees have crossed the whitewash before the ball's down.
They're looking for that angle to see where his legs are in relation to that ball.
There's certainly no ground, it's just how we restart play. It's certainly not going to be a try. Unless you subscribe, Barry, to the theory that that's dangerous play, in which case you could award a penalty try.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm not saying agree with it, I'm saying
the chances of
that's what I'm thinking.
Looking at that would be slim.
Well, Robert Hicks is the video ref. Having a look at this, a close look at this, very experienced refereeing, a combination of Phil Bentham and Robert Hicks.
I think to overrule the on-field decision, you've got to have compelling evidence. Now, it depends what you interpret compelling evidence as. Hardaker's boot has clearly dislodged the ball in the act of scoring. Whether that's foul play is a different matter.
Zach Hardaker's boots has not done enough, and the try, astonishingly, is awarded. It is. Phil Bentham is going towards the posts. There you go.
Well, that's surprising, I'll say.
I felt it, and you can't say he's hit the ball, so therefore there is no danger. It ends up being in a dangerous position, it looks a lot worse than it is at full speed.
I'll tell you what it is, it's a big call and a brave call from the video referee. And he's not physically scored the try, ball's been dislodged. You could make a case there that that's a ball, a foot coming towards a head, but
it's all woulda, coulda, shoulda, and the irony is, if he hadn't intervened, Joel Monaghan had probably got him off the field in time. We'll never know.
So penalty try has been given.
Well, the Catalan chairman is fond of using the word catastrophe, but this has been a catastrophic phase of play for the Castleford Tigers. 2 players in the sin bin, and now a penalty try conceded, which will give the lead back to the Catalan Dragons. The Catalan fans, who are so used to complaining that match officials are against them, well,
Time on.
They've got nothing to complain about in this second half.
So just to clarify, penalty try is normal points awarded, so 4 for that, but your conversion attempt is automatically moved under the sticks. Well, that's Hardaker's reaction.
In his defence, what he's trying to do is anything to prevent a try. And that's anything.
And that's a perfectly natural thing to do.
By sticking his foot out, he runs the risk of the referee blowing his whistle.
Time off.
It's a I'm not saying it's an incorrect call, I'm saying it's a brave call, is that, for Robert Hicks. The easy call for him to make would be to have gone with the on-field decision. So to overturn, based on what we've seen, is a brave call. Whether it'll determine the outcome of this game, well, there's 11 minutes in which we can decide that, but certainly a talking point.
And remember, Castleford Tigers are still down to 11 men, I think. That's another penalty. Desperate stuff from the Tigers.
Well, Louis Anderson, who's been one of the Dragons' best, catches that ball, gets 10 or 12 metres upfield, and Grant Millington tries to strip that ball, but the arm is down as he ends up with the ball in his hand. Grant Millington,
time off,
as he's done so many times during his Castleford career, leading by example, trying to give his team some energy, but unfortunately his energy has gone in the wrong direction.
Okay, cheers.
Well, the Catalan supporters urging their side on. The Tiger supporters at that end of the ground pretty dumbstruck with the way things have gone against their side.
Surrender!
Here is Sam Moa now.
Stand!
24-22 Catalan lead. Castleford defending desperately. That ball's come up, it's been knocked on twice. First knock on was against Catalan, and it's head and feed to the Castleford Tigers.
You can see them lift, they know they're under pressure, and it's desperation. There could well be a hand in there, but you're not taking anything away from the Tigers. They're getting bodies in the way, they're making it uncomfortable, and they're making the decisions that Catalan are making rushed and hurried.
There appears to have 12 men back on the field. I'm not sure whether Laroya's returned to the field and whether he's been subbed by Nathan Massey, perhaps. I don't see Laroya out there, but last count, in between the changes in angles, I thought I got 12.
Back up.
There's no indication.
Yeah, just to clarify, we're in the hands of our host broadcasters as to events like that.
Goal 2, yeah.
No indication yet.
3. Move!
Well, 10 minutes to go. The ball's come out. It's another penalty. This one goes in favour of the Castleford Tigers.
Now, if you're the Tigers here, you're 2 points behind, but the temptation would be to go for a try straight away. What I'd be doing as captain of Luke Gale, and certainly the man of the general, they will be going for 4 or 6, but it won't be at all costs. They just want to spend some time down here. There's about 2 or 3 minutes remaining before they'll go back to the full complement of 13. Spend that time at the right area of the field.
Here is Gale now. Gale, the ball is batted on. Tierney was trying to go for that ball, he was held back. And it's Hitchcocks who comes up with it. The Catalan fans right on that side of the ground in the tribune, outraged by that. This time, the penalty didn't go their way. And Castleford will continue in possession. 4 tackles gone. Roberts now. Here's Minikin, scorer of a sensational try.
Hold! Goal 5.
Plays the ball. Gale picks his spot, kicks cross field, and Inu goes up for it. It bounces down, bubbles on. McShane dots it down. Referee Phil Bentham stands and watches, pauses. McShane celebrates.
We've got
no try, says the referee. Surely McShane knocked that one on after Inu had knocked it on.
Inu has to get up. He has to make a play for this. He makes the first mistake. We've seen it a couple of times already where Luke Gale has gone for that corner.
Well, is that not a tap back? Well, that's the tap back from Shenton, and he's not knocked it on. It's come down off his hand onto his boot. And I'll tell you what, it's smart play from McShane to play on. there's every chance here. There's another decision. There's another on-field decision is going to be turned off. Shenton's hands appear to me to be in here first. Either way, I don't think it matters. Shenton's not that back. If it hasn't, it's an Inu knock on. Then it's play on. That's off the hand onto the boot, and then
that's the question. Does it hit the boot before the ground? Paul McShane plays on.
This is the best angle I think we're going to get from it.
9 in.
If they're going to, I think there's more to it. This is the first incident that they need to look at. But here, that to me looks as if Shenton has knocked this back. Now, this is the crucial bit. Hand onto floor. Yeah, onto floor. So, given that, my opinion there is that Shenton's got that back rather than Inu knocked it on. In which case, that'll be Catalan ball.
I agree.
The try is refused. Is the decision, and it'll be something as straightforward as a turnover after all that drama.
No.
The way this game has gone, you'd have put your money on something more dramatic in terms of an outcome. That was pretty anticlimactic. Darryl Powell down on the sidelines. Wonder what he makes of this.
It's going to be the smallest of margin that gives the victor in this match. They've both given absolutely everything. We've watched a couple of games over the last week or so where it looks like there's not much at stake, but in terms of this match, the only thing that's at stake for Catalan is that home win for the new coach. For Castleford Tigers, those 2 valuable points. If they drop the points, it's no catastrophe, but getting those 2 points will nudge them further towards that league leaders shield. But it's a full-blooded game, loads of commitment.
Garcia plays the ball. Sam Moa up to the halfway line. 5 tackles gone. Needs to be a good kick. And it needs to be a good pass, and Ayton couldn't provide it.
Ball kicked away.
Sam Moa, when he's playing that ball, it just clips his heel as it's going backwards.
It's a huge opportunity for the Tigers. And I do disagree with respect to your last comment, Brian. You were saying that it's not the be-all and end-all with them not picking up the points. It will remove this invincibility varnish that the Tigers have kind of developed over the last few weeks. You know, getting back off the floor to beat Wakefield. The week before, seeing out a gritty victory against their bogey team, Hull FC. They're going to come from behind again and win this. You know, that would speak volumes going into that Super 8's competition.
Well, here is Millington. Gets the pass away to Roberts. Roberts finds Minikin. Minikin back in field. Across the field, Greg Minikin ducks under the challenge of Bird. I think there are 12 Cas players out there now. McMeekin still in the bin. Jesse Sene-Lefeo.
Hold.
12 metres out now. Gale back to Roberts. Roberts dancing, trying to wrong foot the Catalan defenders. But Louis Anderson stands his ground. McShane's pass. Here's Gale once more. Hardacre now. Hardacre for Shenton. Shenton and Hitchcock with another fantastic finish. Jai Hitchcock celebrates. Has he got that one down? The referee thinks so. His first was spectacular. I reckon he gets even more marks for that one.
No problem with the finish. The question is there a foot in touch before he takes off? The answer's no. The ball comes down. He's got control. Oh, what a finish! What a finish!
That is absolutely sensational to keep that ball in play. Unbelievable finish from Hitchcock's.
Well, Greg Eden scored 34 Super League tries this season. Hitchcock's has made a handful of appearances, and this will be on the highlight reel, certainly at the end of the season, for try of the year.
Jai Hitchcock with his second of the game, his second of the season. Both of them spectacular efforts, and they've put Castleford Tigers in the hunt for victory.
Well, Inu is a big man and gets a good shot on him on any other occasion. With the game in the balance, Hitchcock's just simply places the ball out, does everything he can to make sure that the ball stays in the field of play. And the travelling army salute what has been a difficult game, a testing game, testing conditions. They've lost the composure, regained the composure, shown plenty of character. It hasn't been pretty, but it's been effective.
You think about the fallout from this and the ammunition Darryl Powell's now got to give to his players. He's got to show at times during this game you were down to 11 men and you were behind. If they see this out, this is a springboard of all springboards into the Super 8s, and we have seen some spectacular efforts on both sides of the park. What a game.
How ironic that Greg Eaton's back home, having injured his shoulder, doing exactly the same thing last weekend against Salford last week. It's a brave thing in some respects to fling yourself into the air and land like that. It's paid off for Hitchcox, and Gale has put the cherry on top of a juicy cake for the Castleford Tigers.
Ball from Gale to Shenton to Hardacre. Shenton's given Hitchcox every inch he could, but it's not much. He's held on to that ball until the last minute. I'll tell you now, you will not see a better finish than that as long as you watch this game.
Top banana for the Castleford Tigers. And surely that's taken the wind out of the Catalan Dragons' sails. There's a charge in there on Shenton as that ball was contested. It's going to be a penalty against the Catalan Dragons, I think. Inu, was it?
Looks like it. They need the ball back, obviously. There's a contact in the air. Shenton looks at the referee straight away.
Did they need the long kick-off? That's it. You know, they've gone behind, and have they got the composure of a side? Well, the answer's no, because they're about to go into the qualifiers, and you know, that's something that's symptomatic of the way they played this year. They panicked at times of the Catalan Dragons. There was still 5 minutes on the clock at that point. Good kick downfield, good defensive set, and you can have good field position to start a set of your own. They've not been in the ascendancy over the last 10 minutes. It's an interesting decision at that stage in the game, because what it does is now, if it doesn't come off, and their low percentage plays, as it hands the initiative back to the Tigers,
who lead 28-24 in Perpignan. It has really been a dramatic, eventful game. Castleford down to 11 players at one stage in this second half, and really Catalan Dragons didn't fully capitalise on that advantage. Here is Jesse Seni-Lafeo. Castleford poised to go 10 points clear at the top of the Super League table. Weekend off for them next weekend. They'll have earned it. Gale puts a little grubber kick in, ricochets for McShane. McShane looking to wrap it up. He will do. Last tackle play. And Paul McShane, who has been a thorn in the side of the Catalan Dragons throughout this game, is all smiles after this.
Well, Wellesley, I'm going to accept your explanation. I'm going to accept when you said to me it didn't matter, or when I said to you it didn't matter, you said yes it does, and Paul McShane and the rest of the Castleford Tigers, when they score this try, the reaction of the players tells me that you were spot on.
Well, what it tells everybody else in Super League as well is that with 10 or 12 minutes to go, with men off the field and in points deficit on the scoreboard, you haven't yet done enough to beat this team. We mentioned there was a point in that second half, quite early on, when the Tigers defended a set, all the momentum with the Catalan Dragons, and we questioned whether that was one of those moments when they look back at the end of this season. So was that one of the moments that confirmed us as a champion side? Well, they've moved 2 points closer to that now.
McShane's second try of the season. Catalan has been once again a big effort from them. It's a big effort from them against St Helens last week, and they were in the game right till the closing minutes. Big effort on this occasion, and they're going to go home empty-handed, but it will demonstrate that when it comes to the qualifiers, they will have home advantage in 4 games, and that will make it difficult for visiting teams if they're in this sort of mood. They have been tough opponents for this Castleford Tigers side, but we have seen champion quality from Darryl Powell's team. Sparkling try, booming penalty kick from Zach Hardacre, and now I thought it was going to be a touchline conversion to wrap it up, not so.
McShane, well, he wasn't going to let it die, was he? Ball came back from a Gale kick through. I thought Gale was going to go straight for the touchline and work that out of play. There's some
disappointed young men.
But they've seen a very entertaining game.
Hasn't it been?
They've seen a very good side as well, and I bow to your Castleford Tigers knowledge, Wellesley. You knew what was underneath that shirt. There hasn't been an ordinary try amongst them. You look at Paul McShane's effort, that was probably the least enterprising try of the afternoon.
Well, there's been some good tries on the other side of the field as well. I mean, you know, you don't dismiss Albert's, Hugo's and Yaha's efforts lightly. You know, Yaha in particular, great finish in the corner from him. But the two efforts from Hitchcock, particularly the second, I mean, breathtaking.
Can Catalans survive? They've got the qualifiers, this sort of form.
Yes, they can. They're a very, very good side, but what hurts them is giving possession away, giving penalties away. They're going to meet some championship teams that will raise the game. Here's a good example, Greg Bird, international, state of origin player.
Late in the tackle count as well.
Late in the tackle count.
When you look at the scoreline, they scored 24 points against the league leaders. Now, that should be enough to win you any game.
We're going to win the league is what the Castleford Tigers supporters are singing. Catalan Dragons are going to be playing for their Super League future. Will they be playing against Toulouse? Well, it doesn't look it at the moment. They are trailing at home to Featherstone Rovers, 24 points to 20. Still some time to go in that game. You can keep up with the score on the Sky Sports website.
Move, Richie!
McMeekin plays the ball. The clock counting down. The fans counting down. The hooter goes. Jesse Senni-Lefebvre on the ground. But the Castleford Tigers very much standing tall after this performance. A bruising contest at times, eventful, down to 11 men. The penalty count going against them, but they've come through it to win 32-24. They've come through it to take a 10-point lead as we go into the Super 8s. There you go, ahead of Leeds. And the Catalan Dragons finish 10th in the table, and they head for the qualifiers, but maybe they'll head into the qualifiers with some confidence after that gutsy performance that brought us a fantastic game. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy the World Match Play Darts, which follows us next here on Sky Sports Action. From John, Barry and myself, goodbye.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.